Settle into stillness. Let the weight of the day loosen its grip. Your breath slows. Your thoughts begin to blur at the edges, not disappearing, just drifting. This is where it always begins. Not in a flash, not in control, but in a quiet in between. The soft shoreline where wakefulness dissolves into sleep. You're not asleep yet, but you're no longer fully awake. Your body has begun its descent. Muscles release one by one. Your heartbeat finds a gentler rhythm. The outside world grows distant, like a radio fading as you move farther from the room it's playing in. Inside your brain, something subtle is happening. Neurons that once fired in busy, practical patterns are slowing their chatter. The logical networks, the ones that calculate, plan, and judge, begin to dim their lights. In their place, other regions stir. Regions that don't speak in words, but in images, emotions, memories, and symbols. You may notice at first as a feeling, a sense of falling or floating, or a sudden image that makes no sense at all. A hallway that bends, a familiar face in an unfamiliar place. A moment that feels important without knowing why. This is the hypnagogic state, the fragile bridge between worlds, where the mind starts to dream while the body remains still. According to sleep research, this stage is marked by the brain easing out of structured thought and into fluid imagination, a necessary prelude to deeper dreaming. Most nights we pass through this place without noticing. We slip over the edge and forget it ever existed. But sometimes something unusual happens. Sometimes a thread of awareness stays behind. You begin to realize, not sharply, not suddenly, but gently. This feels different. The dream has not fully formed yet. It's assembling itself around you, piece by piece, like a world being quietly constructed behind your eyes. A sound echoes that doesn't belong to the room you are in. A light glows that isn't coming from your window. Your sense of here and there starts to blur. And then, like recognizing your reflection in a darkened glass, you notice it. You are dreaming. Not as an idea, not as a thought, but as a knowing. This moment, this precise, fragile instant, is what scientists and dream researchers call the onset of lucid dreaming, a rare overlap where self-awareness briefly reactivates inside a dream state, allowing the mind to observe itself while still asleep. But it doesn't feel scientific when it happens. It feels intimate. The dream does not collapse. The world does not vanish. Instead, it pauses, as if waiting to see what you will do next. The air feels thicker, more responsive, as though reality itself is listening. You may feel excitement rising, a spark of, oh, I know this place, and with it, a danger. Too much excitement can wake you. Too much control can shatter the illusion. So the mind learns something strange here. Lucidity does not come from force. It comes from balance, from being awake enough to notice but relaxed enough to let the dream continue breathing. Around you, the dream begins to sharpen. Colors deepen, textures gain weight. Movement feels intentional, not random. Your senses awaken inside a world that is not physically real, yet feels undeniably present. This is the paradox of lucidity. Your brain is asleep, your consciousness is not. Neuroscience shows that during lucid dreams, parts of the prefrontal cortex, usually quiet during REM sleep, briefly re engage, restoring self reflection without breaking the dream itself. It's a delicate neurological dance, balanced between surrender and awareness. But again, inside the dream, it doesn't feel like biology. It feels like stepping through a hidden door in your own mind. A realization spreads slowly, like warmth. This world is made of me. Every sound, every face, every impossible rule bending gently around your awareness. And yet, it feels separate enough to explore. This is where the story truly begins. Not with control, not with flying or changing the sky, but with presence. With standing still inside a dream and realizing you're both the observer and the landscape, the dreamer and the dream. In the next chapter, we'll drift deeper into what changes inside the brain at the exact moment lucidity stabilizes, and why this awareness feels so vivid, so emotional, and so real. For now, stay here, on the edge, where sleep and consciousness touch, and the dream waits for you to notice it. Chapter 2: When the mind wakes inside the dream. The moment has passed. You didn't wake up. The dream didn't dissolve. Instead, something inside you turned on. It's a quiet ignition, not a spark, but a glow. You're standing inside the dream now, aware of yourself as yourself. Not the version that exists in daylight, with names, schedules, and gravity, but the version that simply is. You can feel the dream responding to you, not obeying, responding. The ground beneath your feet feels textured, almost deliberate. Air brushes against your skin with a presence that feels intentional. Sound arrives not just in your ears, but in your chest. Soft, rounded, immersive. This is the defining shift of lucidity. The dream stops being something that happens to you. It becomes something you are inside of. Inside your brain, a remarkable balance is unfolding. Normally, during REM sleep, the part of the brain responsible for self reflection, the quiet voice that says, "This is me," stays dormant. That's why dreams feel real while they are happening. There's no one there to question them. But now, that voice has returned. Not loudly, not fully awake, just enough. Neural activity begins to synchronize across regions that usually never meet during sleep. Imagination and intention, emotion and memory, sensation and awareness. The dreaming brain is still painting the world, but consciousness has stepped back into the room, and the effect is profound. You may notice that time feels different. Moments stretch, pauses feel full, not empty. A single second can feel like a breath held forever. This is because the dream is no longer rushing forward on autopilot. It's waiting for you. Many lucid dreamers describe this moment as hyperreal, more vivid than waking life, more emotionally charged. That's not an illusion. During lucidity, the brain's sensory regions light up intensely, sometimes even more than when you're awake. Vision becomes sharper, touch feels deeper, emotion carries weight. This is why a color in a lucid dream can feel more meaningful than anything you saw during the day. Why a voice can feel ancient. Why a single glance can move you. The dream isn't constrained by physics or survival. It's shaped by meaning. And meaning is the native language of the sleeping mind. But lucidity brings responsibility, not in a moral sense, but in a delicate neurological one. Because the more you think, the more the dream destabilizes. If you analyze too hard, if you try to control every detail, the waking brain pushes too far forward, and the dream begins to thin. This is why experienced lucid dreamers don't rush to act. They pause, they breathe, even though the body is asleep. They ground themselves by touching the dream, running fingers along a wall, feeling the texture of the air, listening carefully to the silence. These small acts stabilize the state. They anchor awareness inside the dream instead of pulling it outward. In this space, something beautiful happens. The dream becomes a mirror, not of your thoughts, but of your inner world. Fears may appear as landscapes. memories may take human form. Questions you didn't know you were carrying may step forward quietly without words. Lucidity is not about power, it's about listening. The dreaming mind doesn't think in sentences, it thinks in symbols. A staircase that never ends, a door that won't open, a figure that feels familiar but remains unnamed. When you're lucid, you can stay with these symbols, not forcing answers, but allowing them to speak in their own language. This is why some researchers believe lucid dreams offer a rare bridge between conscious awareness and the subconscious mind. A moment where introspection happens without the filters of logic or fear. But even without research, even without explanation, you feel it. There is a sense that you are standing inside something intimate and ancient, a process that evolved long before language, before writing, before waking thought learned to dominate. You are inside the place where stories are born. And the longer you remain calm, the longer you remain present, the more the dream begins to open. In the next chapter, we'll explore what happens when intention gently enters the dream, how movement, choice, and curiosity begin to reshape the landscape, and why control, paradoxically, works best when it feels like play. For now, stay where you are, aware, breathing, balanced, inside the mind as it dreams itself into being. Chapter 3, Learning to Move Without Waking. At first, you do nothing, and that is the secret. You remain still inside the dream, not frozen, but attentive, the way you might pause while listening to a distant sound in the night. The dream breathes around you. It doesn't rush, it doesn't demand. Then, gently, you try something small, not to test the dream, but to join it. You take a step. The ground responds. There's a strange pleasure in this moment, a realization that movement here doesn't follow effort the way it does when you are awake. You don't push yourself forward, you allow forward to happen. Lucid movement feels less like walking and more like remembering how to float. Your body, asleep in the real world, sends no signals of resistance, no fatigue, no weight. So the dream body moves freely, guided not by muscles, but by expectation. If you expect to move, you do. If you expect the ground to support you, it does. This is why control in lucid dreams isn't forceful, it's assumptive. The dream listens most closely to what you quietly believe will happen next. A doorway appears not because you summoned it, but because the idea of elsewhere formed in your mind. A landscape shifts, not because you commanded it, but because curiosity leaned in that direction. Lucidity teaches a subtle lesson. The dreaming mind doesn't respond to orders, it responds to attitude. Excitement sharpens the scene, but too much can wake you. Fear distorts the environment, but curiosity reshapes it. Calm stabilizes everything. This is why seasoned lucid dreamers often describe the state as meditative. You're alert, but not tense, curious, but not grasping, present, but not controlling. Inside the brain, this balance is reflected physically. Motor imagery, the same neural pathways used when you imagine moving while awake, becomes fully immersive. The brain simulates motion so convincingly that the experience feels embodied, even though the body lies still. This is why flying feels effortless, not because gravity has been defeated, but because gravity was never required in the first place. You may lift gently from the ground, not in a dramatic leap, but like realizing the floor no longer needs you. The air holds you. Below, the dream world rearranges itself with quiet confidence. Buildings stretch, horizons widen, distances soften, and something emotional happens here. A lightness, not just in motion, but in being. Without the body's limitations, without the constant background noise of effort and survival, awareness feels spacious, unburdened. Many people report a sense of joy in this phase, not excitement, but relief, as if something heavy has been set down temporarily. But lucidity isn't about freedom, it's also about encounter. As you move through the dream, figures may appear. Some feel unfamiliar, some feel strangely close, like meeting someone you know but can't place. When you're not lucid, these figures simply act. They speak, they vanish. But now, aware, you can stay with them. You may notice that when you look closely, truly closely, they don't resist your attention. They respond. Ask a question, and the answer may not arrive in words, but in shifts of expression, changes in scenery, emotional impressions that feel meaningful without explanation. This is where lucid dreams become deeply personal. Because the dream isn't pulling characters from outside world. It's drawing from you, from memory, from emotion, from unresolved questions and quiet hopes. Lucidity doesn't mean these figures are not real. It means they are real in a different way. They are expressions shaped by your inner life, speaking in the language of images rather than sentences. And here, awareness makes all the difference. You can listen instead of react, observe instead of flee, Remain present instead of waking up. The longer you maintain this gentle awareness, the deeper the dream seems to allow you in. The environment grows coherent, scenes connect, movement feels purposeful rather than random. It's as if the dream recognizes you are paying attention and rewards you with continuity. But nothing lasts forever. Even the most stable lucid dream begins to thin at the edges. The colors lose saturation. The dream body feels less anchored. A faint awareness of the physical world begins to seep back in. This is not failure, it's rhythm. The brain can only balance awareness and dreaming for so long before one begins to reclaim dominance. And that's okay, because the value of lucidity isn't in how long it lasts, but in what it reveals. In the final chapter, we'll explore what remains after the lucid moment fades, why these experiences feel meaningful long after waking, and what lucid dreams quietly teach us about consciousness, identity, and the strange gift of being aware at all. For now, let the dream continue drifting. You don't need to hold it, just stay with it until it's ready to let go. Chapter 4: What Lingers After You Wake. The dream begins to thin, not abruptly, but the way mist loosens its hold on a quiet morning field. The edges blur first, colors soften, movement loses its certainty. You may feel a gentle pull, a distant awareness of weight returning to the body, of breath becoming more noticeable, of the room slowly reassembling itself around you. And then you wake. Your eyes open. The ceiling is familiar. The world feels solid again. But something has followed you back. Lucid dreams rarely vanish the way ordinary dreams do. They linger, not as clear images, but as a feeling, a subtle afterglow, a sense that you briefly stood somewhere important. Neuroscience suggests that this is because lucidity engages memory systems more strongly than normal dreaming. When awareness is present, the brain encodes the experience differently, not as noise, but as narrative, something worth keeping. But again, it doesn't feel scientific when it happens. It feels personal. You may notice a quiet clarity in the minutes after waking. Thoughts feel less rushed. Emotions feel slightly reorganized, as if something inside you was gently acknowledged during the night. This is one of the most overlooked aspects of lucid dreaming. It's not about escape, it's about recognition. For a moment, you witnessed consciousness observing itself, a mind aware that it was imagining, yet still fully immersed in the experience. That realization leaves an imprint. It subtly changes how waking life feels. Because once you've been lucid inside a dream, something becomes difficult to ignore. The waking world, too, is filtered through perception, through expectation, through stories the mind tells itself about what is real, possible, or fixed. Lucidity doesn't blur reality, it sharpens it. You begin to notice how much of your day runs on automatic patterns, habits of thought, emotional reflexes, assumptions made without awareness. And sometimes, quietly, you catch yourself and think, I am here, not dreaming, but present. This is why some researchers believe lucid dreaming strengthens metacognition, the ability to observe your own thoughts and states without being consumed by them. But long before research noticed this, humans felt it. Across cultures and centuries, lucid dreams were tested as doorways, not mystical in the supernatural sense, but intimate in the psychological one. A place where the mind could look at itself without judgment. A place where fear could be approached gently. Where curiosity could move freely. Where imagination wasn't something to suppress, but something to listen to. Lucid dreams remind us that consciousness is not a switch, it's a spectrum. You move along it every night, from waking awareness to drifting thought to dreaming, and sometimes briefly back again. That moment when the dream becomes lucid is a crossing, a reminder that awareness can exist without effort, that attention doesn't always need control, that presence can arise even in surrender. And maybe that's the quiet lesson lucidity leaves behind. That you don't need to force awareness in life. Sometimes you only need to notice when you have arrived. Tonight, when you fall asleep, you may dream. Most dreams will pass unseen, unremembered, and that's perfectly fine. But if somewhere in the soft darkness a moment of knowing returns, a whisper that says this is a dream, don't rush, don't grasp, just be there. Because even if the dream fades, the awareness you touched belongs to you, and it will find you again in sleep, in stillness, or in the quiet moments when the world slows enough for you to notice you are here. Sleep well and let the mind dream, knowing it already knows how to wake from the inside.